Sometimes I feel the guys are putting way too much effort into it. Good morning, this is Art of Trade Nation. Welcome back to Montreal. Today I want to talk about one specific topic in trading. You've probably seen before how important it is to simplify things. And you've probably heard on the podcast many guests who try to simplify their trading as much as possible. So I'm a big fan of that also. Let's try to talk about that today. So today's kind of a day that I spend working at a different place. It's kind of my coffee shop day. Been walking to a place this morning, going to another place this afternoon to meet different people. And that's kind of interesting because you cannot expect to have different computers and different screens to trade whenever you're at a different place. And whenever I travel, I like to keep it very simple, which is one computer, one screen, and not that big. And that, I think, over time forced me to keep things very simple, to have only one setup, to have multiple time frame, yes, but I try to keep it simple even at that. And I'll share with you guys a little bit how that works. I see many people who try to look at different time frames and they feel like because of that they need many computers or they need many screens. And I don't look at it that way. Whenever I look at multiple time frame, for me it's kind of a story. And I always start with the same time frame, which is the daily chart. The reason is that I don't look to trade and have confirmation on all time frames. What I look for is kind of a story. I look for kind of the setup within the bigger picture. And that's a different way to look at it. So I'm not going to look at trading all time frame, looking at all the charts at the same time. That's just adding too many variables to my trading. So I look at the bigger picture, and then if I want to trade off that chart, I'll look into that story to see if I can place a trade. So all my analysis starts with the same charts, and it all goes down to a small time frame. But I find that following all time frames really adds confusion, and it's kind of pushing you to enter trades that you should not enter, only because of the setup. And with this day almost over, I feel like I want to simplify this down to what you can do to simplify your trading. Obviously, you guys cannot really see that, but the moon is really nice this evening. Really nice level, kind of almost full moon, I think. It's really cool. And on the other side, there's like a sunset. Let me show you right away. That's nice too. Well, it all starts with the environment you're in. And if you don't trust me on this, try trading for one day with your desk full of paper and like messy. Your trading is going to reflect that. It's going to be a mess. I'm, like I said, a big believer in having only one chart that you look at and that you change time frame to look at what's happening in the market. But if you need more than one, just do more than one. Do whatever you're comfortable with. Because in the end, you're the one deciding and you're the one in control. And you're going to get to see what is best for you. The best example of this is I used to have TradingView, which I got the premium version, like the Pro Plus version, I think. Useful. And I did that pretty much only to get the multiple chart that you can put like in one window. And I ended up figuring out that I didn't need all these charts because I was just too confused. And one of the things I realized is that the more things you follow every day and the more things you look at, the more confused and drained you are at the end of every single day. So if you want to not be confused and if you want to be able to follow through and just not feel like bad at the end of the day because you missed setup or whatever, it's easier to stick to one thing and to have less things to look at. So if you look at the news, if you look at the macroeconomic data, at the charts, at this time frame, this time frame, this time frame, it's confusing, it's tough, right? It's difficult, I would not want to do that. Hence why you have to figure out what works best for you. And that is done by experiments, by trying stuff out. Maybe you'll see that you try something, it doesn't work. And that's why you have to be willing to readjust. I would say try simple, and if you need things, add them. But always be asking yourself every single week or every single month, do I really need this? Do I need to have this indicator on my chart? Do I need to confirm my trade with the RSI? Because that might be a complete waste of time. It might just bring more confusion. And it might be something that you don't really need. If you took the same setup without 5 indicators, and you only look at price action, for example, why would you want to have 5 indicators? Why would you only look at 5 time frame to decide on your trade? And if you have this tendency of wanting to look for confirmation on all time frame, remember first that there is no such thing as really confirming a trade. You can only add confluence, but you cannot confirm. But the real point I want to make here is that you can often do the same by looking at the market phase on one chart. Usually what one chart does, it's kind of easy to restrict your trade to that. So if you see that one time frame, the one you want to trade is trending, you could look only at that one. I favor kind of an approach where it's like top down, so you start from the top and then you go down. So you look at the bigger picture and you look for the zones to place trades and then you go down. But I make sure that I go step by step, so not like confused at looking at everything, confirming like this, and like that. Like this is a mess. So if you write down the process and you go through the process, it's much easier anyway. And the one last thing you can do for simplicity is to review every morning, noting down what you see for the day, what you want to trade for that day, what you expect to like see happening, and focusing on that. If you do not like do that every morning, you're always going to feel stressed, and it's always going to be difficult and overwhelming to look at the chart, because then you're not going to know what to look for, when to look for it throughout the day at your set times. Then you look at your chart, and then you decide whether it's time to enter a trade or not based on your setup. And that's kind of a quick trick if you follow multiple currency pairs, you don't know where they are at. Just look at the charts like 2 or 3 times every single round. You'll retain more. Just think about when you were in like university or something, in high school, where you had to memorize all these like numbers and all these facts of like figures and people and everything. You look at them multiple times and you remember them very easily, and then you come to the exam, you get like an A+, or maybe not, but at least you remember some things. And it's much better than reviewing only once, expecting to be good at this exam, of course. So this is clear, but do let me know if I can clarify anything. Make sure to subscribe to this channel if you're not subscribed yet. There's one more video every single day. Also give a like if you enjoyed the video. I kind of try to see what you guys like and don't like, so I can adapt and make those videos better in the future. And I'm doing my best to make sure that this has an impact on you and that you move forward with those tips. So make sure to let me know in the comments as well. And I'll see you guys tomorrow for the next video. Ciao.